Today we're going to take a look at how to make outlines around anything in Photoshop. The first thing you want to do is identify and isolate the subject you want to use away from your background. If you already have a transparent layer, you don't need to do this, but in most cases you're working with just one image. Since the background on this image contains blues and whites, I can use the quick selection tool and allow Photoshop to do all the work for me. Simply press select subject and you'll see some squiggly lines appear around the subject. Then press select and mask and double check everything is fine. I'm going to press OK and I have a perfect selection in its own layer. Let's rename this layer Man. Now let's take a look at the traditional ways of applying outlines. This is the method that's used by nearly everyone in the design community. And later I'll introduce you to a more advanced technique which will be very useful. Right click on the Man layer and select Blending Options. Inside you have 6 different ways of applying an outline. Feel free to try them, but I recommend Stroke. Stroke allows you to create an outline on the outside of the layer, the inside, or from the center midpoint of the line. You can change the size, opacity, and blending modes, as well as configuring the fill type that is superb for abstract design, since you can adjust the color, select a gradient, or upload a pattern. My personal favorite. Wow, that's so easy and the results speak for themselves. Now let's take a look at a more advanced way of doing things. First of all, I'm going to duplicate the Man layer and turn off the effects. Hold Ctrl and select the layer thumbnail. Then go to Select, Modify, Expand. And expand by around 75 pixels. This expands the active selection so that we can create a new layer and paint in on it with a white brush. You can hold Ctrl D to remove the active selection and then drag the painted layer below the Man layer. We can rename this layer Outline. The reason that this method is more powerful than using blending options is because we can once again make a selection by holding Ctrl and select the layer thumbnail, then go to Select, Modify, Contract, and contract this by around 25 pixels. Press OK, and now we have a new selection on our outline layer, which we can fill with a new color, or press Delete on your keyboard to make this hollow effect. Before I deselect this, I'm going to go to Select, Modify, Contract, and contract this one more time by 25 pixels. Then create a new layer and paint in on it with white. Hold Ctrl D to deselect, and now we have a totally different effect that's far more versatile in its possibilities. Let's drag this aside and compare the two. The main differences between them are that selections tend to be more specific in how they go around layers, in contrast to using a stroke effect that rounds everything off nicely. And this was Design Dummy.